And welcome to the 2023 College Championship. I'm Daniel Digon Gonzalez, and I'll be your host through the next 5 days of collegiate competition, where we'll crown the best university teams in both League of Legends and, for the first time ever, Valorant. Today kicks off our coverage of the top 4 in League of Legends, and I'm joined today by Grapes and Cubby to break down all the action. Guys, this is a crazy, crazy event, a culmination of a year-long journey.
Yeah, so many really talented programs coming here. Here's the schedule for the 5 days of gameplay in both League of Legends and Valorant. We're starting off, of course, with League of Legends. 3 of the 4 teams in this division that are still remaining have won national championships in the past. Gonna be a really fun time.
And, I mean, we get to start right off with a rematch of the 21 finals, Winthrop versus Maryville. We were seeing the teams beforehand. I think there were some friendly words shared, but also when we hit the rift, I know they're going to want to get the best of each other, and the vibes around the building, always so fun. We have the college kids here.
That's, of course, today's matchup. For tomorrow, we have St. Louis University against St. Thomas. The winners of those matches will be playing Tuesday. Now, on Monday and Wednesday, on Monday and Wednesday, we've got ourselves the Valorant matchup, where Winthrop University, also the only team being represented in both matches, will be playing against Fisher College Navy. And the winner of that will be playing the big boss on Wednesday, Northwood University. Plenty of things to look forward to over the next 5 days. But as we settle on in, let's sink our teeth into what's cooking today, which is Maryville versus Winthrop in League of Legends. And to kick off, let's hear from Maryville top laner Niles on returning to the College Championship.
I think being at Maryville, basically, even making the finals is a disappointment. If you don't win it, it's a disappointment. Last year, losing in the semifinals, it was really crushing, I think, especially the way that the series went down. So I think going into this tournament for me is just really learning from our last year mistakes and making sure that we don't lose that same way. Yeah.
Obviously, Niles has had a lot of experience in the public eye, you know, with his time over at Golden Guardians, and then, of course, experiencing that loss last year and trying to learn from it. He hit something that I think is so important for anyone that's ever thought about collegiate esports, which is the weight of being Maryville. That is just an organization that everyone knows of, and he wants to learn from it to show, like, hey, you know, we're not just reputation anymore. We got to go ahead and win.
Yeah, I mean, we're going to get into it a little bit later, but Maryville, one of the most storied collegiate organizations in the history of North America, and winning multiple national championships. If they take the trophy today, they will be, I believe, the record holder for the most championships of all time. Haven't gotten one in a couple of years, but with this lineup, I mean, anyone's game.
Yeah, and this is one where, for me, with Maryville, yes, it is Niles and the OddOrange returning, but also some of the value of Maryville designing their program like an LCS org. They have 2 teams. They have 10 men on the roster. Getback, ScaryJerry, and Zyko all stepped up at one point to join the main squad, who have been playing together for the entirety of the tournament. It's been really good to see.
Yeah, obviously an amazing part of those 10-man rosters here. And as we touched on earlier, Maryville, just a known quantity. But how did they get known? Well, let's take a look at a timeline that we've created here covering the emergence of Maryville. Cubby?
Maryville is widely considered the gold standard of collegiate programs. It quickly emerged after they were founded in 2015 with a win in 2017 and also 2019. Bound to set the record in 2020 as they were the big favorites. Unfortunately, we had no final due to COVID. And even despite promoting 13 players to go to the professional scene across all titles and winning 12 national championships as a program, they have yet to claim that coveted record-setting 3rd collegiate championship in League of Legends.
Yeah, and despite the fact that they haven't had a championship in a while, they've still been very active both in the collegiate space and in the semi-professional space. The PGCQ's Proving Grounds both in 2022, and of course all culminating in 2023 when they qualified for the LCS Challengers League just a couple of weeks ago. But again, the big thing that we want to stress, Maryville has not won a title in those last couple of years. You see in 2021, fell to Winthrop 3-1, and in 2022, they lost to University of St. Thomas in 2022, 3-1. Both of these teams here in the Riot Games Arena for this weekend, there's a very good chance that Maryville will have to take down both of them in order to claim their third title.
Yeah, the storylines are set here for Maryville. Again, UST, Winthrop, both in the way, the team that have knocked them out the last 2 years. This roster that has been together for such a long time, has had experience on the professional space. And then, as you touched on, these little bump ups here from the B team, the quote unquote B team. I mean, how B team is it when it's probably as good as some other team's A team?
There have been years where we argue that if Maryville's second team were to compete in the top 32, that they would have made top 8 and even possibly gone further given the bracket. So I think it really speaks to what they have in the building. And I know they haven't been able to claim that third championship in the last few years, but they've still promoted their last 2 mid laners to now the challenger space in both Spyrax and APA. So it's not like they haven't had talented individuals, just they haven't been able to claim the title. And as Maryville, it's the one team here where that is the expectation.
And this Maryville mid lane pool, kind of historic. APA, Spyrax, and now Getback, who had, I think, one of the best seasons of any player in the collegiate space, in the NACL qualifier space as well. And he is just really good alongside the rest of the players, the experience up in the top lane, some newer faces down in the bot lane with ScaryJerry and Zyko. This is a really well-built roster, and I'm excited to see them take to the stage today.
Well, although they are the favorite, I think we've got some footage and tape on that. So let's take a look at times where they fell short as the favorite.
So my first semester was in 2021, spring. We made it to the finals. It was COVID year. It was online finals. We lost to Winthrop 3-1 in the finals. Since then, I've hated that school. That was 2 years ago. I like some of their players, hate that program. They're the number one, a lot of us, our number one goal is to beat UST. Usually my number one goal is to beat Winthrop. We beat them last year in the quarterfinals. We beat them at Gateway Legends in 2021 after we lost in the championship. When I play versus them, I'm like, I want it bad. I go hard. Like, I want to beat Winthrop really badly.
Hey, man, OddOrange has been in the public eye for a long time. I worked with him over at Radiance, and things didn't quite go that way. I'm sure he disliked that. He was over at Echo Fox, which obviously on the LCS at that time didn't quite go the way he liked. Probably disliked that. He didn't use dislike that program over there at Winthrop. He used hate here, Grapes.
I love how, here in Collegiate League of Legends, things get a little bit off the rails every once in a while. We have some personalities here playing today. OddOrange specifically, definitely one of them. He was actually the only player that is still on the roster that did lose to Winthrop in 2021. So he definitely has that experience at the top of his mind and is going to use it as motivation, as we saw in that clip.
I mean, I think he should give some media classes for the LCS, man. Let's get hate used a little bit more. It fired me up, man. I want to run through a brick wall.
Well, just in case you couldn't tell by that shot that we had there facing Maryville on the Rift, on the opposite side is Winthrop University, a program that has pulled off the incredible feat of fielding both rosters in League of Legends and VALORANT at this year's championship in Los Angeles. This is an organization that has built up from the ground up and now is proving to also be Maryville-like in terms of the quality they're pumping out in their programs.
Yeah, being successful in both games, VALORANT and League of Legends, is just a super incredible feat. There are other schools that have tried. The other two VALORANT schools that are competing here this weekend, Fisher and Northwood, they both had League of Legends teams that made it to the top 8 this year, but only Winthrop was able to get both sides into this LAN, and just goes to show the strength of the program.
Yeah, and a cool thing about the other teams that we have, at least for the League of Legends top 4, is that they all somewhat modeled their programs off of what Maryville did. Winthrop being one of them. They won their title in their first year in 21 as a collegiate program. And the fact that they've brought in a head coach now like Artemis that has the experience from EG and have actually been able to also use a little bit of their 10-man roster to actually fill out the 5 they're going to be fielding today. It's paying off, and we'll see if it's going to be enough to beat the Kings.
Yeah, let's go back to that 2021 championship. That was played remote. Yep. But they were still the ones that toppled Maryville, that put that bad blood against in OddOrange's mouth.
I mean, this is a trilogy fight, right? In 21, we had the finals where Winthrop toppled Maryville. Last year in quarters, Maryville were able to topple Winthrop. And now in semis, the third, different stage of the tournament. And it's 1-1, at least when it comes to what we have here in CLaw. So you can take the cake in the trilogy.
Well, when you look at the roster here, Grapes, what jumps out at you in terms of players that will be kind of leading the way here?
Well, first and foremost, the player you just saw on your screen in Frostforest, the only one to be playing against, Maryville in all 3 iterations of the rosters for the past couple of years. But also the new additions that they have made. Denathor, Conveying, and Mobility are all first years at the university. Mobility, as we said, had some experience in LCS Challengers League, but these 3 have really grinded things out over the past couple of months. They made it over some of their older counterparts to be on this starting 5, and I think are going to be a big difference maker against Maryville today.
I was lucky enough to drop into what I'm calling the scrim bullpen, with everyone that competes from the arena while they're here. And Winthrop Frostforest is the person that talks the most in this team. He is the captain. Chookies does mostly follow-up from that. And I think it's worth noting that one of the most common themes I actually heard from every team room was how improved Denathor was. This is a player who was known on the ladder for being a Camille player. Then if that's banned, it's Gnar. If that's banned, it's Sejuani. He's actually really rounded out his champion pool and has become a top laner that can not only hit high elo, but now has rounded out his play for 5s, which is going to be so important this weekend. Yeah,
Denathor and Mobility both on Tempest Gaming in 2022. That's where they started off their competitive careers. 1 year later, here at the Riot Games Arena, really cool story. And we have to remember, Chookies is also a part of this team. Joined in the round of 16. Is a defending CLO champion, was part of the University of St. Thomas last year. He's going to look to reclaim his title and also potentially rematch against his old team if they win today.
Also, Artemis joining late, a huge addition as well to Winthrop.
Yeah, again, one of the architects of the North American talent pipeline over at Evil Geniuses. Artemis made a statement recently saying that, hey, he's leaving the professional scene. He's found his calling moving over to Winthrop. So going to be very, very exciting to see what he does because his fingerprints will be all over this team. All right, we are just a couple minutes away from team introductions and champion select for game number 1. So let's go into some predictions. And before I hear your guys' predictions, let's see what our players think.
My prediction is a 3-1 for us. I think that they're a good team, but I think we're a bit better. And once we've had them figured out in the draft, and once we take a game off them, I think that we'll have the series figured out pretty well. So it's either going to be a 3-1 or a 3-0.
I don't see it like that. My genuine thought on what's going to happen, I think we're going to 3-0 them. I think if you guys, obviously you guys, I can't just sit here and show scrims or show league, that's not how that works. But from how scrims go and stuff that we know about them and knowledge, I don't think they're as good as people think they are. And I think we're going to 3-0 them and 3-0 whoever's in the finals and just be undefeated.
All right. Also, shout outs to our editing team for making it I don't think so. I think it's going 3-0. What did you think of that?
Mobility for me is someone that really relies on confidence as a player. And so to see that confidence was great. I know from watching the scrim bullpen yesterday too, he was still talking to me today oh, you saw the big play I had yesterday in scrims, man. He was just so hyped, he was doing stuff on the Rift. And I think competing with EG in LCS Challengers League this past split did really help build up a lot of that confidence. He's been able to bring some of that back to the team. Yeah,
that clip from that we just saw in Mobility was from an interview that I did with him a couple of days ago. And he talked in that spot about how important being on EG was. He said, when I first came there, I thought it was really good, learned that I was maybe not as good as I thought, and really took steps to improve. And I think that we're going to see a new, invigorated Mobility, someone that we didn't see to that same level in the LCS Challengers League this split.
All right, that was all good and well, but you guys are just stalling prediction time. All right, where we're going. Let's fly it up here on the screen. Who you got, Grapes?
Oh, man, I actually think it's going to be a really close series. Overall, Maryville, kind of the favorites, as we were kind of alluding to, but Winthrop, I feel are going to have the chance to put up a good fight. I think overall, though, Maryville, of course, they made it. They're in the NACL right now. Yeah. I still think that the synergy that they have and they have built throughout the past couple of months going to work out for them. I have them 3-1.
As if they didn't have a big enough target on their head already, being the first collegiate team to break that barrier in the Tier 2, I think really put a much bigger one on them for this tournament. But I got to say, Grapes, we are both lame. We went with the gentleman's sweep. Yep. Degon, thanks for adding some spice into our lives.
Spice, man.
I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Hey, before we go, everyone smile for the camera.
Let's go.
All right, Winthrop Socials team, as soon as you win the series, you know what to clip.
Yep, you can clip that one. At least you made us look good. Before we toss on over, one player that's going to be the impact player here. Quick, one word.
Oh, ScaryJerry. That guy, was part
That's
of
not one word, Graves. ScaryJerry. One word.
Denathor versus Niles, and the series will be closer than the one
That's
tomorrow.
not one word either. All
That's
right.
it. Yes.
Denathor versus Niles. That's the
Yes.
matchup. You're up to date on the teams, the players, and now it's time for them to test their mettle on Summoner's Rift for a shot at the finals on Tuesday. Let's send it on over to Kangas and Hawk at the caster desk. Guys, take it away.
Thank you, D-God. I know Graves and Cubby might, it's been a while since they were in college. Well, maybe not Graves, actually. You should know how to count. You should know how to count better to one. But thank you, everybody, and welcome to the Caster Deck for today's semifinal series between two collegiate titans, Maryville and Winthrop University. I'm Kangas, and joining me on the desk is none other than Hawk. You've been following the collegiate scene all year. Thanks for coming on and chatting with us.
Of course. Happy to be here. First time in the Riot Arena, at least on the caster desk, and I cannot be happier to be here. And Kangas, it's going to be a great series today. I mean, let's get into it.
We got a pretty wild crowd already. They're making some noise during that pre-show. But enough of the pleasantries. Let's meet the teams. First up, it's Maryville University. In the top lane, we got our captain, Niles. In the jungle, with his sights set on Winthrop, OddOrange. From down under, Getback. The scary carry, it's ScaryJerry. And in support, he's Zyko. It's Zyko. But facing off against them on the other side of the rift, it's time to rock the hill with Winthrop. In the top lane, it's the solo queue menace, Denathor, the captain in the jungle, Frostforest. In the mid lane, a bright new star, Conveying. Catch him if you can. In bot lane, it's Mobility. And perched on his collegiate support throne, Chookies. The first match of the 2023 College Championship League of Legends semifinals between Maryville and Winthrop starts right now.
2021, we lost to Winthrop 3-1 in the finals. Since then, I've hated that school.
Maryville held the crown, but the Eagles bow to no kings. Winthrop University are your League of Legends 2021 Collegiate Champions.
When I play versus them, like, I want it bad. My #1 goal is to beat Winthrop.
Fighting against MU in our first game, which I think most people can agree they're the favorites to win the whole thing. But they were the favorites last year too, and they did not win the whole thing.
We haven't won in 3 years. There's so much added pressure because of that. We can't just go another year without winning when we're supposed to be the best team in the nation. I think that they're a good team, but I think we're a bit better. I think that we'll have the series figured out pretty well.
They always raise our level pretty high, and I'd say that it's going to be a really tough match, but I don't expect it to be easy for them.
Everyone calls us the Juggernaut for a reason. We're the best team here.
A lot on the line for Maryville. Expectations abound. And who to match up but Winthrop? The story between these two programs. You can have your own opinions, but in my mind, this is the pinnacle of college League of Legends rivalry.
Yes, sir. I mean, this is a bona fide rivalry, as you said, over the last 3 years. These two teams, you heard it right from OddOrange's mouth. They hate each other. They want to knock each other off right here, make the finals, and try to pick up their next championship, Kangas.
To be fair, he did say he likes some of the players.
Right, he likes,
some of
they
the
like the players.
Yeah, maybe
but
not
the team,
Frostforest, the one that beat him.
Right.
I don't want to put words in his mouth, but we'll see what happens on the Rift itself. We're getting ready for pick and bans. We didn't have an opportunity to give our predictions here, Hawk, so I'm going to put you on the spot. Everybody on the desk said Maryville. Is there any hope for Winthrop? Do you think that they can take this, or are you also leaning Maryville's side?
You know what? I think I'm leaning Maryville's side, but this series is going to be a close one. Winthrop, they have leveled up over the course of the season. They had some late additions as recently as CLOL top 16. Chookies coming in. I think he's going to level up this roster, and I think across the board, I'm with Degon, 3-2.
Well, let's hear what the crowd thinks. Any throps out for Winthrop in the audience? All right, okay, yeah.
Good.
Honestly, that was louder than we did it earlier.
Yeah.
How about Maryville?
That's a little louder. That was a little louder. A little bit.
But it's up to the players to put it on the Rift. We're to pick and ban. So to start off, this is, of course, patch 13.9. If you're confused by that, the whole tournament has been played on this, so we're not going to have all the crazy new picks, but there are some things to catch up on as there are a few champions disabled.
Yeah, and we see one of those new picks hitting the board as well. Emilio getting taken off, but as you said, Nico and Yumi are disabled. So we don't have to worry about the cat that everybody hates. We can have some real support gameplay down in the bottom lane, which is great when you got some great ones like Zyko and Chookies.
Yeah, and Chookies is basically, or the Emilio is a must ban right now from Red's side, especially against Maryville. But catching up on the rest, it will be a meta that we've seen a lot of tape on already. No surprises from things like the Cassante, like the Annie.
But a lot of ADC power on the board still available, right? Kangas, Jinx, Aphelios, Zeri, all three of these champs up and available, and ScaryJerry and Mobility have been huge carries for their teams so far this year. I mean, ScaryJerry got to Maryville after last year, a miracle top 4 run with Converse, where he carried them from the bottom lane, and it's gonna look to do that again today.
Took him 1 year to get from there to Maryville. Obviously, the program was happy to pick him up. He packs a lot of firepower in the bot lane. So far, only the Varus has been banned away from ScaryJerry. Meanwhile, Maryville more focused on things elsewhere on the map. They with that Maokai locked in as well for the ban. So one more ban available for Winthrop. Let's see, do they want to focus ScaryJerry or do they go to top lane? Okay, the Jace is actually huge. Flexible, and like Guppy was saying on the desk earlier, top lane could also be a big deciding factor in this match.
It will be, because both Niles and Denathor, no strangers to busting out the carries and throwing down. Look, Niles has been known to not respect every top laner, but he does respect Denathor. This player, we've said it, a solo queue prodigy coming up. And there's that 80 carry power getting picked up. Xayah.
The mental games are already starting, Hog. The hover of the Pantheon, something Niles has been tearing it up with. They even hovered the Kale, and then they lock in the Xayah. All right, yep, I understand. We're going back to what makes sense in the draft, but you got to imagine he's trying to get in the head of Denathor right now.
They're letting him know that they could pick it. You know,
just reminding him what's on the table.
Yeah, we got all 154 champions available to us, right? We could do it, but at the end of the day, this is very standard 1 through 3. Wukong, Xayah, Rakan, very strong mid game, very good skirmish. But speaking of strong mid game and skirmish, Lucian, Nami, Vi, lots of playmaking on the bottom side for both teams.
Yeah, it's a lot of firepower between the Lucian and the Nami. Vi can set up ganks very easily. Nami follows up with a bubble, easy peasy. You are up against the Xayah Rakan though. They are no slouches. Level 1, one of the strongest duos, if not just the strongest duo in the bot lane, and also they can kite back once they hit level 6. So it might be up to Winthrop to make a play early enough. Mobility, like we had highlighted, has had a lot of experience at the semi-pro level, subbing in for Evil Geniuses all of last spring in the Challengers League. So, you know, he's not coming in here with a lack of experience. I do have high expectations and high hopes for this player in this tournament.
Definitely, and he's had a meteoric rise from his Tempest Gaming days that Graves mentioned just last summer. This player has impressed so many people, but now looking forward in the draft, mid matchup going to be very important, Kangas, because we've already got so much playmaking on the bottom side. Whichever one of these mids can move first and help control the river is really going to dictate the early pace of the game. Looking at things like the Aries of the world, the Lissandras. Ari is banned out, but Taliyah's another one.
Yeah, I mean, we banned away the Syndra, the Ari. Happy you highlighted that, but that means Taliyah, I mean, she's known for this. Like, this is her entire playstyle, basically. Try and shove the wave, get on the map.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, Conveying very much going to want to influence that, and that's a big reason why he's found so much success on Winthrop. Denathor and Mobility, such strong side laners. When you're able to link up with the tank commander Frostforest and try to make plays, you can really get a lot done. And Maryville, they're going to respond in kind. Just go with the Lissandra. Still playmaking. Now top matchup. That's a blind Olaf.
All right. Can it be punished by Winthrop? The blind Olaf for Niles. Very strong. Can't lock it down. The Lissandra, meanwhile, on your team, along with the Wukong and the Rakan. A lot of engage tools that you have to enable an Olaf to go absolute crazy in these fights. Now, what does Denathor want to bring to the table? We're answering carry with carry. It's a Camille.
Look, Denathor may not be a one trick anymore, but that doesn't mean he can't bust out that Camille, baby. I mean, this is still this player's best champion for the longest time, synonymous with Camille and up against Niles Olaf. This is going to be an electrifying topside matchup. It's exactly what we expected, right? Mid-jungle looking to play towards dominant side lanes for both teams.
Exactly, and you can really carry through multiple roles on both of these teams, both of these compositions, which means there's gonna be a lot to track in the early game. If you're on both sides, where are you focusing early on in the game?
I think the most important thing for both teams is you got to get one of your top laners ahead. Tip the scales in that matchup so that way you can leave it. Let them win in isolation, because really the game will be won in bottom. So if you don't have to worry about the cross side of the map, it can really give you a lot of help. ScaryJerry and Mobility, we've said their names already, but they are going to be the big X factors. Lucian on a Gale Force can bully Xayah off a minion wave. Lucian from behind cannot do that. It loses so much value.
Let's see if the teams have the same game plan we do as the coaches shake hands. The rivalry continues and the grudge match begins. Maryville versus Winthrop. The history behind these programs over the last 2 years has only been mounting, and yet again, like destiny, they face off now in the semifinals. Compositionally, it's gonna be an exciting match. Story-wise, an exciting match. And we got some League of Legends this week, everybody. Let's go. Oh, man. We're about loaded in, Kangas. We're on our way now, and I mean, look at this. Live in the studio, these teams, they worked hard to get here, and now they've got the shot to face off against one another and break the tie in their series that's been building the last 2 years. I'm gonna need everybody in the audience right now, make some noise for Maryville versus Winthrop. Both teams not gonna get up to any sort of shenanigans early on. A nice gentlemanly opening, could you say, as I would expect this series will get our fireworks in due time. These teams love to scrap. It's so fun to see how the stage affects the playstyle of the teams. We have a small invade here just to drop down that early vision from Maryville. They will get that ward down. Frostforest will know where it is. But always the difference between playing online at home or from wherever your school has their, their PCs set up to then coming to the Riot studio, playing on that stage. That's a lot of pressure. It really changes the way the players approach the game.
It's a whole different beast, and that will be something to keep our eyes on in game one. Who's got that mental to be able to stay locked in? Niles, he's got experience on the stage from his time at Golden Guardians. Already going to try to give the young gun a bit of a hard time, but Kangas, looking at that ward, we already highlighted the importance of the junglers with the volatility of these lanes. Being able to track Frostforest for Maryville is going to be huge.
And you were highlighting the fact that a potential strategy would be try and get your top laner ahead early, so that way you don't have to worry about them. They're winning the 1v1 at that point, so I was thinking maybe a bot to top clear. OddOrange is doing that. He's also spotted on the vision, but Frostforest is starting topside. We'll go for a full clear up here. I'm curious where Frostforest will decide to go after, as we have some tests in the bot lane, seeing who's got the stones to keep that 2v2 going. Neither one wants to commit though. Oh, level 2 from Getback.
Just a little excitement in the mid lane, a little bit of trading.
That's a lot of damage traded.
Yeah, it is quite a bit. One thing Frostforest does have open to him is still a 3-camp gank on top, as Niles is trying to crash this wave. I don't expect that one to come through, but Mobility just forced the flash instant.
We're just going for it right now. Winthrop getting aggressive. That's flash and ignite from Zyko, and answered from Mobility.
I think it's like we said, Kangas, these teams are no strangers to getting a little scrappy in this game. I mean, Mobility blows the summoner to get a health advantage, but that is huge. Should be up by the time junglers hit level 6, however, and that's going to be very critical.
But look at where the junglers are pathing. They saw OddOrange start bot side. They're going to assume Wukong is going top. Frostforest is heading down. Zyko does have mobility on the Rakan, not to be confused with the AD carry on Winthrop's side, but he can move around even without a flash, but we're going for it. Frostforest is over the wall. Without flash on Rakan, you are much more vulnerable to this gank. And no feather recall either. Okay, I think they're going for it. Chookies gets to speed up on mobility. Focus down Zyko. There's no flash on the Rakan. He does jump away, and that's flash from ScaryJerry. Okay, no kills, but a burn of another summoner.
Yeah, it's just a huge advantage for Winthrop with very little time invested, but Conveying now.
Oh, the flash from Getback to follow up, and that's first blood for Maryville's mid laner.
So well done by Maryville, getting Getback on the board. Mid jungle, whoever can move first is gonna dictate the pace of this game. OddOrange recognizes that and gets it done in mid.
And Conveying even read the play, was like, I gotta flash early. If he's going in like this, probably means I'm dead, but Getback was able to flash in time, get that stun off, and now Conveying teleports back into wave. We'll try and catch this. Ooh, that's a bubble. Okay, mobility doesn't want it. It'd be dangerous to go in there.
And that's so huge now that Maryville was able to live. Sure, Winthrop kept summoners, but Maryville, they get the kill, and watch how well played this is again. Getback pulling the wave, and as you said, Conveying playing very respectfully, but just couldn't get away from the Wukong with the Lissandra combo.
Yeah, Wukong can get on you from so far away without being seen. Whew. Nice early game so far from Maryville, avoiding death in the bot lane, getting away from that gank, and then getting first blood for themselves in mid. Now, Lissandra with the early gold will have a slight advantage now, means you can get that shove. We talked already about how important it is to get that shove, get on the map.
And already look at the line of blue wards in the river for Maryville. That's just a small but significant advantage that they might be able to leverage, especially with Getback crashing this mid wave. They will have a timer to do something if they choose to take it, and Frostforest getting spotted out as well. Maryville, they're just operating with full information.
Denathor might be trying to stack this wave. Niles will know that there's a potential for a dive. Well, even with that information, though, OddOrange is backing here, so there won't be a jungler around. Let's see if Niles gets dove here.
But another deep ward. Look at that. By the Wolves. Getback laying one down. It's just Maryville with so much control in this early game, and I think that's something we should highlight is this team, they've got the best early games of any school in the country. That's what they've made their name on for years. No matter the roster, it's all been about early playmaking. And
the chase down. Ghost available? No, okay.
Not too much going on.
You were talking about the early game. I was getting hyped.
I know, yeah, we're ready for it. I mean, they're ready. You know Niles, he wants to solo kill Denathor, but Denathor playing this matchup out fairly well, keeping even in CS.
Yeah, hard for the Camille until you're level 6 to really threaten a large amount of kill pressure. Even early levels, you're really waiting for that first item. But honestly, Denathor is still doing great so far. Has not gotten run down, chased down by the Olaf, which can happen. Dragon, meanwhile, has started. OddOrange, let's see. Okay, he's just sweeping around the pit. They haven't seen it yet.
This is dangerous.
But they might have an idea.
Winthrop, they're trying to bully Maryville out of the river. Mobility is just a little bit stronger than Zyko and ScaryJerry right now, and I think Frostforest will be able to take this one away. So Maryville, they got a bit of an early gold lead, about 1,000, but it's Winthrop getting the dragon, keeping things close.
Yeah, not too shabby. I like this from Frostforest. They commit 2 control wards for the vision control. Mobility gets rooted with the recall, but no further engage from Zyko, so that's first objective. Over to Winthrop.
Nicely done again. They're just leveraging the power of this Lucian Nami. Mobility is a bit down in CS, however, so that's something we will have to track as this game progresses. We mentioned a behind Lucian is, I mean, a pretty useless Lucian a lot of the time, and he's by no means significantly behind, but they would love to get Mobility going for Winthrop if they could.
Ooh, okay, some aggressive trading there as Zyko went on a warding mission. And you can say that trend across the board. All the lanes on the side of Maryville right now are just slightly ahead. It's not this crazy, overwhelming lead, but it can start to mount. It can start to snowball into something bigger. So Winthrop happy even more so for that dragon. If they can get these stacked early, get to a dragon soul before any scaling comes in from the side of Maryville, they're going to feel very happy. Frostforest looking for a repeat gank bot lane. There will be
Level
flash
6
on Zyko. ScaryJerry, it's coming off cooldown, but he was spotted, so no, they're going to call it off.
So this is an important part of the game, though. Level 6 is starting to come through for both teams. OddOrange almost there. Frostforest already has it, and Herald spawning in about 40 seconds. You know these teams are gonna want to pull off the boxing gloves at some point, and very ultimate reliant compositions makes sense. We've had a bit of a quiet first 8 minutes, but the explosiveness can definitely start to come through soon.
And part of that is, again, who can control the mid wave. We see that early kill for Getback gets you the Lost Chapter. You have better mana sustain. You can keep shoving in. Conveying does have the tier, so not going to be hurting for that, but overall, we'll be favoring the Lissandra right now in terms of just pushing that wave in constantly. Although, as I say, that Conveying out of lane right now.
But look at the absence of Winthrop wards around the map. Frostforest covering Denathor at the threat of a dive on Niles stacked wave. It's still Maryville feeling like they're just controlling this early game that little bit more. So while things most certainly are close, they're staying on the front foot, and it's allowed them to start up this Rift Herald.
Ooh, Chookies was maybe looking to stop the backs. We'll catch the wave here. But yeah, the lack of vision on Winthrop, you've highlighted it twice now, where Maryville is putting their wards down, how they are controlling the rift through vision. Haven't seen the same level of focus from Winthrop, and now Maryville will get a objective of their own. That is the Herald secured. No contest.
But Chookies freezes the wave at least, so it's a little something in favor of Winthrop. That's going to be pretty annoying for ScaryJerry and Zyko to get back. Maybe even threat of a gank as Frostforest is making his way down to that side of the map. So you can look out for that with Zyko.
Now Chookies has to reset. There's a window to dive here. Getback just shoves in mid-wave. We have the Herald. OddOrange goes back to the camps. Okay, they're not going for the dive. I thought maybe they see, all right, Chookies has to reset. We can just 3-champ dive the Lucian with Herald. But they're not pulling the trigger on that play. Instead, they will just go for the plate, shove the full wave in, ScaryJerry won't even get the plate. Okay, so not a lot accomplished there from MU, but at least they do get the wave shoved in, so they deny the freeze.
And something we talked about at the top of the show, right? The nerves of potentially playing on stage. Both these teams playing a very trepidatious early game, not wanting to make any game-defining plays, but Maryville, they're walking in very aggressively.
Okay, all members are here. There's the engagement. Zyko gets flash out of Frostforest. Getback was there for the follow-up. So the preemptive flash. Now they look for the engage here on the Getback. Chain to CC, constantly knocked up. Has the ult. OddOrange with the engage. Can ScaryJerry get close enough to do the damage? Zyko with the follow-up. Charm onto 3. ScaryJerry's in the fight. The bubble lands, though. They got 1 kill. 1 goes down as Chookies falls to Getback. Conveying should fall as well. Zyko in there for the kill. 3-0 in favor of Maryville.
What a nice fight from Maryville. They were feeling strong and with good reason, walking into Winthrop's jungle, and they simply had more damage at this point of the game. And Kangas, I'm excited to get a replay of that fight because Zyko crushed it, man.
The engage tools for Maryville cannot be understated. They pick up 2 kills there, putting the scoreboard to 3-0. Getback getting another one, has a completed item now.
Ooh.
So the engage is only going to get stronger, and this is the early game that we expect from Maryville.
Yeah, he's up in farm over Conveying as well. The new mid laner for Winthrop struggling just a bit, but here's that replay. It's a great look for Winthrop. They're able to catch out Getback, but Lissandra, so much ability to buy time in the front, and once Zyko is able to re-engage this, hits a 2-man knockup, and then charms mobility on the side as well, it's completely won for the Saints.
Yeah, a lot of knockups laid on top of each other, and then that engage. Woo! That's a highlight reel-worthy play right there, Zyko. And the rest of the team following up, getting a second for their troubles. Winthrop were ready for the play. They thought they had the punish, but props to Maryville for sticking together, getting their champs out of there.
And so we're starting to see, though, a problem with Winthrop's composition. They've got so much single target damage and burst, but Lissandra, Wukong, Xayah, all so many ways to buy time for themselves and go invulnerable or into stealth. And it actually makes it very difficult to find a target. So we'll have to keep our eyes on that target selection as we move forward. But I mean, Getback just did such a great job frontlining for his team there.
Held the Lissandra ult till the very last second. And again, all the knockups not quite layered. And here's another dank gank. They don't have the Wukong ult. Actually, they do. Cyclone's back up. They don't even need it. They just pick up the kill easily. Getback, running out the CC. OddOrange still in there. Now has the Cyclone. The re-engage. Zyko's there to save his jungler. And that's more kills to Maryville. That's a double. 6-0 on the scorecard, and Maryville are on the line.
Maryville's team play is just sublime. They make the play first in the river, and Frostforest and Denathor, I thought it looked good too, but it's Zyko again. This is a support masterclass. Let's take another look at this one. I mean, Conveying, what are you even supposed to do against these 2 champions when they're ganking you as a Taliyah? It feels so unplayable. And again, the re-engage looks strong, but look at the minimap. It's Zyko walking up first. They don't have the damage, unfortunately, for Winthrop. And the Rakan is the difference maker.
Great timing from OddOrange there on the Cyclone. Did not use it on the initial gank. Trusted the CC of Getback, who has the Everfrost, again, because of those early kills.
And Winthrop, they're feeling pressure to make a play. They know Maryville has ultimates down, so they're going to start up this dragon. Should be able to take that one away. So they're at least going to get something, but still, they're down 5,500 gold, Kangas, at just 13 minutes. It's only 6-0 in kills as well. It's farm, it's towers. Maryville is rolling.
They're still 2 dragons away from Winthrop having that Dragon Soul to help with this gold deficit. But you gotta imagine eventually Maryville will start contesting them for those. And I also gotta bring up a point here, because we were talking with some of the players before going into the game. Chookies reminded us, has not died yet in top 16 when he joined the roster. This is his first death of the entire CLOL tournament. He said he'll give them 1. His goal is to go the whole series without dropping more than 1 death. So Chookies, no pressure, but it's got to be a perfect
How do you think that one's panning out so far right now?
Looking rough.
I mean, hey, if they bring it back and a couple picks, maybe, you know? I don't know if I'm coping or...
He sits in base, you know, for the rest of the game. Yeah.
That sounds like a sound strategy.
He didn't say he had to win.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. KDA player. That's what we do here.
Either way, has had a great performance, but ScaryJerry and Zyko are having a performance themselves. Specifically, this Rakan. These engages have been slick.
They really have, but I mean, Winthrop, they're just forced to base on bad timer. ScaryJerry taking plates. Things definitely are not in their favor. But remember, this is only game 1, and Winthrop, they had an idea in draft, but it does feel like Maryville, they have a draft that is able to operate well into what Winthrop has gone for, and now Denathor could be under threat, 3-man roaming up.
Denathor wins this 1v1. Will you take the bait? Okay, does not take the bait. Nice. There is the ward in the tri-bush. Sees Getback, sees OddOrange. Denathor, do you survive regardless? They have a wave to dive with. Denathor's gonna have to outplay this. Goes in, Conveying as well. The lockdown CC, they're going for the Camille, and they get him. That's Camille down. Killing spree picked up for OddOrange.
Oh, and nobody dies
get
for
one more.
Oh. Okay, now nobody dies for Maryville on the end of that as well. Conveying, trying to buy time for his top laner, but just couldn't quite do it, man.
Rough spot for Denathor right now, as with this first item picked up, I would favor the Camille in that 1v1 if you're isolated. But the fact that OddOrange Getback commit to the dive, they also get a Herald afterwards here, means that it's just a bigger hole that Winthrop are falling into.
And Winthrop, they wanted to make plays around the bottom side, right? Lucian, Nami, Vi, that was the plan, but unfortunately against Xayah Rakan, it was so difficult for them. They got the summoners, they weren't able to punish, and now Winthrop, with their time, they went mid, they got more out of it, and it's really resulted in the 6,500 gold lead you see on your screen.
And you can see how much this kind of matchup means to the community with some of those community tweets coming up there. Right now, it is Maryville looking strong in game number 1, but there's a lot of people hoping this goes the distance here, Hawk. I know a lot of us included, especially the players. We like to see competition at this level, and so far, Winthrop haven't found a big purchase in the game. Is there any hope for them right now? If you're on the side of Winthrop, where are you paying attention to say, okay, this is how we got to get back into the game?
Well, they still got Denathor actually pretty strong on this Camille up against Niles. I think there is an avenue. If you can try to maybe get a tower, get a longer side lane for Denathor to play on, he should be able to at least create a pressure point for their team, and maybe then they could look for picks, but he's just gonna get attacked again.
Yeah, OddOrange again making it an unfair fight. Denathor flashes, trying to get away right now. And a slow misses. Okay, is there a shot now? The second lands. He's down. Denathor punished in the side lane yet again. Got a magnet on his back.
And Winthrop, they're struggling to answer on the other side of the map. Mobility and Chookies, they blow the culling, but it's just a bit of a health chunk. Nothing more than that. Frostforest is here now, but all summoners and ults up and available. I don't even think you can dive this.
It would be a hard ask for them right now, even with teleport. Getback can jump into this fight very quickly. Frostforest calls it off. Now, maybe if the bubble lands, they can go for it, but even then, was already walking away when the bubble went out. Conveying here to try and spot out OddOrange. I thought OddOrange would just drop the Herald top lane immediately, but maybe now that Niles has the Ravenous, they say, no, let's allow this lane to exist a little bit longer. We're actually happy to punish Denathor over and over again, which also opens up OddOrange to drop the Herald somewhere else.
Yeah, I think they're waiting to drop it for ScaryJerry. I mean, the Xayah is the big damage threat for this composition later on. If there's one thing that Maryville does need to be a bit careful of, it is that they have a lower damage composition in the late stages of the game. So if you're able to accelerate Jerry and just play on this one-item spike that's so strong across their composition, it should be fine. And I would imagine that's going to be the plan. They've already gotten mid-tower ages ago with the first Herald. So now we're just looking at side lanes.
It's no longer a bounty for that first turret. They're happy with the cash in, and that's 2 items on Getback. This Lissandra is so far ahead with the Zonias completed along with that Everfrost. Can lock you down for ages, and it's pretty much impossible to catch Getback.
Yeah, Winthrop could be setting up for a dive on the top side of the map, but they're way slow on this play. Maryville, they've already knocked down the tier 1. Herald summoned up as well. I think they should be able to get 2 towers. Dragon on the map likewise, and it's a reset for Winthrop. They've not been able to get anything.
Whew. Winthrop are falling further and further behind as the game goes on. We talked about how strong Maryville is in the early game, but another strength of theirs is transitioning that lead into just a suffocating game state for the opposition. They get everything on the map right now and deny the Dragon stacking of Winthrop the bright light that they had from the earlier plays.
Kangas, are we? Oh, we're not heading towards a perfect game because of those dragons that you mentioned. But other than that, it's looking pretty perfect for Maryville at this point. And I mean, I don't know. Mobility in the pregame saying Maryville is not as good as people think they are. Look, they're looking pretty dang good right now, Kangas.
Yeah, pretty much. It might be eating his words a little bit. But of course, the smack talk is one thing. It's about resetting between games, not letting the tilt set in. So if you're on the side of Winthrop right now, even though the game is a little out of control this time around, keep your head in it. You never know what can happen. Right now, mobility being engaged on. They turn on to Chookies instead. Good peel. self-heal from Nami, and they deny the engage.
Yeah, great disengage by Chookies to get away right there. It's the small wins that can definitely keep you in games, and that does give Conveying the time to take down a tier 1, so a little bit of an advantage. Winthrop, hey, it's something.
You got to take those. No longer a perfect game for 2 reasons.
That's true.
The Dragons and the Turrets.
Yeah.
They just
It's looking very imperfect, in fact.
2 out of 3 ain't bad, but they're definitely going to be looking for some of those shutdowns as well. Of course, OddOrange, back in the big one, also doesn't have the self-Lissandra ult or the Zhonya's. So you imagine that's probably the one that Winthrop are looking at.
Yeah, but you know what, though? OddOrange is playing like a man that hates Winthrop this game. 4-0-4, 100% kill participation. I mean, he's the reason that they're this far ahead. It's been an excellent game from the jungler of Maryville University, but I'm with you. I think that is an angle that you could look at to get 800 gold back in your pockets. Winthrop, they're grouping up around the mid lane. They have a bit of a numbers advantage. Maybe could look to bear down on this tier 1 or even get priority over this Baron if you really want to do something crazy.
But look at all the wards placed down as Twitter again joining in that yes, OddOrange is popping
OddOrange.
off
I like
right
that. That's a good nickname.
Yeah, what did he say? When I play against Winthrop, I'm just on a different level. You know, I think we're seeing that level right now. But it's the fact that Maryville have not given up any of that vision control, so even with the engage tools and something like a Vi, Frostforest cannot find an avenue to engage on anybody. Even now, they walk through, clear wards, drop their own. Guess where Maryville are? Same side of the map. Clear those wards out. Drop your own down. Watch any avenue that Winthrop have to walk up, and then you'll always be safe from their engage.
All right, so you know what my friends and I do in solo queue or like normal games when we're down this much gold?
Can't say I do, no.
We are like, all right, guys, pick a bush, and everybody's sitting it, and hope somebody walks past. That could be a plan. You know, you get a shutdown, you get back in the game. I mean, hey.
I like that plan. The old death brush.
Yeah, you know, that's a tried and true strat. That's like 2011 back there.
Problem is, you got to get to that point. Maybe Niles. Again, hard to lock down an Olaf, but they do have the Camille ultimate. They're not going to commit for it, though. And again, they just don't have the vision control around their side of the map. They do drop 1 onto the Baron, so they'll see if that is started. So far, Maryville have not looked like they want to rush it down and force Winthrop into them. Instead, they're good. Down to play a slower game here. Just get more and more waves pushed, more and more pressure onto Winthrop.
Yeah, I mean, Maryville knows they're strong, and they don't need to flip a Baron. They're far enough ahead where they can just wait for objectives to spawn, and either Winthrop will be forced to fight them and probably lose, or they're just giving up gold and experience and objectives for free, and it's a lose-lose situation either way. Very calm and controlled, like you said, and they're really putting the ball in Winthrop's court to say, hey, get yourselves back into the game, but they're not giving that window.
They even drop a control ward into the Baron pit. Winthrop are at that point of the game where they start to realize they could just start the Baron if they wanted to. Decent DPS onto that objective. Reset from ScaryJerry. We'll get back onto the map, get back shoving out the bot wave as Winthrop now group up. They have to be 5 members together to retake the vision control around the big worm.
And Getback, well on his way to a Rabadon's death cap, about 900 gold off of that. Nearly 3 items on this Lissandra. He's 2,500 gold up over his opposite number. Gripes said in the pregame, Getback has been a stellar performer for this team, and we are seeing it on full display.
We even saw Zyko pop the Shirelias looking for a potential engage right there. They could. Again, it's a big magnet that pulls Winthrop into you. If you're the team that wants to peel back and have them engage into you, starting an objective like Baron is a great way to do that. Maybe they're just not confident enough in their ability to do damage to it to really pressure Winthrop in early.
Yeah, and they got Dragon in 20 seconds.
True.
Why flip a Baron again when you can just go to Drake? And Winthrop, I would expect them to give this one up. I don't think they're in a position to fight, but they might also be feeling...
Oh, hi, Zyko.
...that their power spike is waiting.
Your team's a little far behind, but doesn't matter. Frostforest does not look to punish.
Just say
even
hello.
if he had, yeah, Zyko's probably tanky enough right now that the Vi will not do enough damage to really threaten much. At least Denathor can get more done in the side lane despite dropping 3 times. Has been putting in work in that solo lane. As Dragon is started up now by OddOrange.
Kangas, you might be familiar with this, but Zyko being a typical gym rat, flexing his muscles in the enemy jungle, you know? That was the strat right there.
He had great grip strength.
Oh, did he?
When I tested out all members of Maryville earlier, he almost broke 100 pounds on the Dynamo.
Okay,
so
that's
props to
pretty good.
Zyko. Props to
This is
Zyko.
more than me.
Winthrop, dude, they just started the Baron now. Nah, it's just this dance. It's the vision dance, Hawk. Who can maintain the wards in the jungle to spot where the enemy team is going, but overall, we've only seen the gold lead maintain, if not slightly increase. Maryville now with 2 dragons can start their own stacking.
And it feels so bad, right? Because Winthrop, they commit a bunch of members to the top side. They get all their vision down. They're doing a good thing by not letting Baron go, but Maryville's going to very easily walk in and retake all of this, and it's Winthrop's hard work not gone to waste, but just going away.
Yeah.
And Maryville with full control again, we'll just see Winthrop forced to face check bushes, and with no tank as well, gets super, super scary.
And I got to go back to the fact that OddOrange is just so fed right now. A reminder, only OddOrange and Frostforest, the returning members from the 2021 championship, where Frostforest did get the better, with the team taking that title from Maryville. OddOrange wants that revenge and is poised to take it here. 4-0-4, pulled back by Conveying. Not damaged enough to really make it a threat, though. Winthrop can clear out some of these wards, and we're just back to the dance.
What's your take on the Baron dance? You want to do the Baron dance for me, Kangas?
Okay, let's think of different styles of dancing.
Okay, yeah.
It kind of feels like a tango. It's like one step forward, one step back kind of thing. Is that tango or is that salsa?
I think that might be salsa.
Might be salsa.
That might be salsa. We can call it a salsa because you sashay your hips a bit by starting the Baron and doing a little flourish.
Shake it a little bit. All right. Winthrop, are you taking the bait? They see that it's down to about half health. Niles taking a lot of damage from that. And Maryville are pulling off. That's a teleport coming in, though.
TP.
They go for the engage. Watch for Zyko.
Jerry
just jumps in like an absolute mad lad. Zyko's down. Jerry's down. Winthrop absorbed the engage, and now it's time for them. Can they survive, though? They're not quite all on the same page. Getback is pushing mobility away. The damage is not there for Winthrop.
Denathor.
So it's up to Denathor. Getback with the Zonias survives. An insane engage from Maryville. They lose 2 members and they only pick up Frostforest.
I don't know, man. Zyko might have been living up to the name a little too much with that one. Great punish from Winthrop. They're going to knock down the mid-tier one as well. That is exactly what the Eagles needed.
They're on the board. 2 kills to their name. Watch ScaryJerry. He goes boo and then immediately regrets it.
Yeah, I think the idea from Winthrop is sound, but ScaryJerry goes so deep, and it's Conveying on the flank coupled with Denathor that get on top of him and take him down. Zyko never found backline access either, and Winthrop, a beautiful kite back. They keep everybody alive. They're back in this game, Kangas.
And Getback did a fantastic job keeping mobility away from the fight. If mobility was there to free fire, that could have gone much worse for Maryville. They're still in the lead, though. 6,000. Winthrop picked about 1,500 gold up from that entire fight. They didn't get the shutdown onto OddOrange. There was a small one, I believe, on ScaryJerry there. So they did get that. And now we're right back onto the map here, Hawk. Yeah, not a lot has changed other than now a teleport being down from Conveying and the teleport down from Getback.
And another critical thing, not enough members of Maryville died for Winthrop to feel confident enough to start the Baron.
Yeah.
So the Purple Worm does still remain. So even though Winthrop definitely back in this, they are still behind, and Maryville knows
Right back to it.
Yeah.
Okay, there's not going to be a Lissandra teleport this time around, but Denathor is pushing bot wave. So he will have to look for the TP flank. There's no nice wards to go to. Getback has just walked around for the flank.
Is it just a flip?
Lissandra's on the back line, gonna jump on a Chookies. That support down immediately before the fight even starts. Now they look onto Conveying. The other carry is in trouble. Baron stopped. That's a teleport from Denathor. Is joining the fight. Might be a little late, though. There's only 2 members left from Winthrop.
Frostforest alive, though. He could look for a smite steal. No flash available, but does have smite. Niles trying to zone them out. Winthrop walking in his 3.
Scary to walk up to an Olaf. Doesn't have the ultimate available anymore. Getback does not either, but there's still a lot of CC. How does Frostforest approach this? Might just look for the 50-50. They got the control ward in.
They're holding it.
Maryville are holding it. They see Vi.
Oh, so smart.
All right. How are you going to get in there, Frostforest? Oh, a lot of damage on a Getback. Has to go in. No steal. It's secure for Winthrop. They lose Getback, but they'll take Frostforest. Zyko down as well. Denathor looks to even it up with a double kill, but a 2 for 2 and a Baron secure for Maryville.
Very intelligent Baron play from Maryville. They held the HP. Frostforest gets in just a split second too late, and Winthrop at least is able to pick up a couple kills, so it's not a total loss. But Maryville, they've got the buff that they can use to maybe end this game.
Those moments can make and break series, and Maryville might have just made this one. At least game one, that is a big lead that they're packing. They're right back up to 7.3 thousand gold lead with the Baron.
And Denathor has all of the kills for Winthrop. So we said maybe there's a world where Camille can get strong enough, right? But it's a tall order for this poor Camille to be able to carry this one. They're back down 7.5K. TP comes in from Maryville as well. They've got Dragon Soul Point on the board, their third Mountain Drake. Winthrop, at this point, I think your item spike is passed. You might as well just go and see what happens, but that's going to be a very tall order.
They got a wave pushing bot. Maybe they just give up the dragon, go for that. They're approaching now. They did not have teleport on Denathor, and the dragon is already gone, and they're getting caught as well. Frostforest separated from the team. Maryville jump on him.
Just another nice pick. Frostforest not been allowed to get in there, and a huge wave bottom for Maryville to get to with their Baron. ScaryJerry on the way with the buff, and I don't think Winthrop can hold this. This should be an inhibitor down. It's yet another advantage.
That's the turret. Inhibitor focus next. A massive wave that Winthrop have no chance of clearing. The base has cracked. Maryville will back off. They don't want to keep pushing for more. I thought maybe with their other engaged tools, things like Zyko's ult, they could look for a 5v4, but they're going to play a patient game.
Winthrop only loses one. The Baron, we're about a minute left on it. So Maryville, their Baron power play, not the largest. I don't expect them to get too much more off this. They'll have about a wave to work with before that does fall off. So silver linings for the Eagles in game number one. They have had a couple of moments, yet it just doesn't feel like it's enough for this one.
The Red Bull Baron buff basically got them back to where they were before the pre-Baron fight. Feels like ages ago now that even happened. But it looks like it will be a second Baron that would decide the game. Unless another fight breaks out for something silly. Like maybe we go for this red buff. Let's go for this red buff, Maryville. Let's have some fun.
Flip it for a red buff is one of my favorite things to do as a jungler. You know, you just like, hey, I want that.
I mean, you talk about death rushes from the team behind. Well,
yeah.
how do you win a game from ahead? You go for the red buff.
Yeah, just walk into the enemy jungle, say, hey, that's mine. And they have to be like, oh, okay. Or they lose.
But what is this the meta? Is it like death rush at the red buff beats the red buff?
I think death rush at the red. You know, you expect that they're gonna try to walk in and take your lunch money, so you're like, hey, I'm gonna bring my boys and make sure I'm good, right? Like that's how that works.
Well, it looks like Winthrop we're going for their own red buff invade, but while they're doing that, they actually lose the top turret. Maryville sticking up its objectives, breaking more of the lane states. But here we go, Frostforest get the red buff.
Yeah,
yeah. So the little things.
Couple little whoops out in the crowd. Love that. Yeah, the silver.
That was a loud whoop.
That was a
Was that even a whoop? That was a ah.
Nah.
Yeah, that was I didn't want to full send it for that one.
No, that's valid. That's valid. We'll save it for later when inevitably I think we'll get hopefully some closer games throughout this series. And again, Winthrop, they're still alive. We're talking like it is over. We've been saying that for the last few minutes. It does feel one-sided, but they've managed to stall this game out. 32 minutes so far. And one more good fight like the one they found earlier, and you could still be back into this.
Much further than most teams have made it against Maryville. This is why a lot of the analysts, even though they were favoring Maryville, maybe arguably just the favorites in the entire tournament, we have Winthrop picking up games across the board because, first off, they don't give up. Winthrop do not quit. They don't know the meaning of that word, and they will keep trying, even if they're this far behind. And number two is that we just don't think the skill discrepancy is there. Winthrop can rise to the occasion, and in moments where Maryville is throwing themselves at Winthrop are ready to catch.
Well, speaking of throwing them, they did pop the Shirelias. They know Winthrop is somewhere, but they don't know exactly where, not confident enough to base check, and they're just trying to control the top side of the jungle. Baron spawning in a minute and a half. Winthrop, no vision in their jungle whatsoever. It is a very dangerous prospect to walk in.
They have to, though. Walking up, because that's their red buff. Oh, they're going to lose their red buff. No! Winthrop, the meta. It's okay. I think maybe this isn't actually the meta, it's just the meta that we agreed to right here. Frostforest will walk up into that brush. That's the death brush that Maryville set up, and Frostforest punished for it. It's so dangerous to step into this side of the rift with how much control Maryville had, and they will claim the enemy jungler.
Yeah, and Maryville, they've just been able to completely box Frostforest out of this game. His fifth death so far. 053. It's not been.
Denathor's going for the 1v1.
Oh, hold on.
He's on to get back under the turret. That is Lissandra ultimate. That means that everyone else from Maryville are going in. Flash. Niles just jumps in there. Flash, Ragnarok, Ghost, instantaneous. But they do not pick up a kill.
Okay, well, it's actually Winthrop coming out with a decent advantage in that one. They are able to get the summoners off of Niles for basically nothing. Top laner for Maryville maybe getting a little bit over-eager. We've been seeing that a little bit from the Saints so far.
Will Getback have ult by the time Dragon's up? That's a big deciding factor because you're looking at the Zhonya's, the Lissandra ult, the Wukong, Guardian Angel, even Zyko has the stopwatch as well.
It will be back up. It will be back up.
That will keep them alive at this fight. This makes the fight so hard for Winthrop.
Yeah, and mobility, not having access to the culling either, so maybe it was worth, but Summonerless Olaf can be very difficult to make work in fights. Now we'll see, does Winthrop try to split the map and just pull a Baron?
Yeah.
They're hovering towards that side. I think they know they can't walk in.
I feel like you kind of have to at this point. I don't see a world where Winthrop wins this fight. First,
They're gonna try.
You're uphill in the gold difference. They're walking in. Oh, the confidence of Denathor saying, follow me. I will lead the charge. Winthrop are just pushing Maryville off of this.
But big minion wave in the bottom side. Maryville can play slow. Someone from Winthrop will have to answer at some point.
Big damage. Mobility just chunked Getback for free. No damage traded back. That could be huge. Dragons focus.
It's gonna be another flip.
Frostforest is gonna have to flip this.
Here they go.
On in, and it's secured by Maryville. The engage from Getback. Niles with the double kill, and the blender is spinning. Winthrop getting put to juice as Maryville will claim the soul, claim the fight, and probably claim game one.
Getback's already TP'd in. He says, my work is done here. Maryville, they're going to take this first game in dominant fashion, Kangas.
Yeah, with the super minion there, there's nothing to stop the wave. Getback will claim game one for Maryville University. Not the 3-0 mobility was predicting, but I still think we're going to have a fun series ahead of us. Game one to Maryville.
Just so incredibly well played. We had questions about what these teams would look like after a month off between top 8 and now. These teams, they were all saying, hey, it might be closer than you guys think, but Maryville, game one, that is a statement.
And let's go back to how they did it. First off, early gank in the mid lane. They got Getback ahead, and Getback just continued the carry. Water performance from Lissandra. Zyko with the engages as well. Those two tools led Maryville to victory.
I mean, the support staff across the board just played that so incredibly well. We mentioned OddOrange, we mentioned Getback, we mentioned Zyko, but I want to say their names again because they just smurfed it, really bringing Maryville through that first game and not allowing Winthrop to really have any windows in. And Kangas, I just got to say one thing. I never want to see Vi into Xayah again.
It did not get a lot done. But also you played into the OddOrange, so obviously...
That's true. It can be tough when you roll OddOrange. That's a bit of a tricky one.
Yeah, Winthrop got to leave the stage. Not the ending they were looking for. I didn't see... Did Chookies die again? I'm assuming he did.
I would assume so, yeah. Well, in the dragon fight. In the last one, it was just Denathor that lived, right? So
it's Deathless coming into the series. Will not be able to continue that perfect record going forward, but still not a terrible performance from Winthrop. They were able to etch a couple of ways back into that game. It did not feel like a blowout.
Yeah, it didn't really either. You know, they were able to really stall out that game for a long time. I just think the biggest problem for them is they didn't have any playmaking options against Maryville. Yeah. So much defense, so much time buying. They were playing reactive the entire game. So, hey, find yourself some playmaking tools. Maybe try to get a better gank in bot lane. Maybe you get the kill next time, right?
Yep.
Like, that could totally change the series.
There were a few moments where I thought dives were potential. Maybe they would actually go for it, but Winthrop did play.
It's just so hard against Xayah Rakan. How are you supposed to kill them? They're OP, man.
Yeah, I mean, you highlighted the Xayah ult, the Lissandra self ult, all the tools to disengage made it tough for Winthrop. But that's it from us. Let's head over to the lecture hall so that we can all take a nap through the analysts droning on uninterrupted for several minutes.
What? Kangas, come on, man. Hey, just because you're a bad student doesn't mean that everyone else isn't going to be. And you see what happens when you nap. You almost lose a game that you had won there. Maryville do take the victory here in game number one. But it wasn't as direct as it could have been. But let's take a look at the very beginning there where it was really that mid-jungle synergy that we want to focus on here.
I gotta say, OddOrange being GodOrange this game, yeah, he came to play. He said that he hated Winthrop, and he played with that in his veins for this one, as going after Conveying, one of the new members, immediately And for me, like when you have Vi plus Taliyah, you really want to make plays off of the Vi level 6 with Taliyah. By setting Taliyah so far behind, they never got first move. So it was always OddOrange being able to move first, and that's really what set up so many positive things for Maryville.
And you see a little bit here, Winthrop trying to fight back, but because of the deficit that they were already facing, they did not have enough damage to take Getback down at the start of this fight. And I want to shout out Zyko here because that 3-man charm, I think, played a big role in helping Maryville take control of this first game. This is a guy that came in as part of AoE Esports in 2021, then made his way over to Maryville, sat behind Shady, who is one of the most prolific collegiate players of all time, and now coming in as a really, really big player. I know a lot of these players on Maryville are super experienced, but Zyko is definitely one I'll have my eyes on to really make big jumps both this year and beyond.
And like for me, Maryville, we knew that coming into this top 4, they were going to be the strongest early game team. But to see Getback and OddOrange really take that Lissandra Wukong into the Vi Taliyah, I mean, these are both mid-jungle duos that want to snowball forward, and do what they did was so big. As here we get another replay. They're already winning at this point of the game. We already saw Maryville up 6-0, but the fact that we're able to snowball this, and then when your lanes are winning, they can collapse. So yes, Denathor is able to get here first, but Zyko, again, able to turn this around and was the difference maker in this skirmish as well.
Yeah, huge cyclone to prevent any damage coming on through from Denathor, and the roam by the rest of the Winthrop just a little bit too late there, and you kind of want to rely on that veteran-like experience, but OddOrange really just kind of hammering home the first real haymaker in this matchup between the two junglers that were both there in 2021.
Yeah, I mean, we heard him in the interview. He's here with a vengeance, wants to take down Winthrop University, and he really showed it. Him and Getback just have had really incredible synergy throughout the year, whether it's in the NACL qualifiers or here in CLOL. And I really liked what I saw out of them today.
Yeah, and you had a great point earlier, Grapes. This isn't the first matchup between Conveying and Maryville. It's a long history, a pained history here so far that he's playing against, not just in this match, but all the different series that he's had.
Yeah, so Conveying was a part of a team called Lit Esports during the NACL qualifiers this spring. They played against Maryville 3 separate times, and Conveying was the mid laner for all 3 of them. Yeah. They did not take a single game in either of those best of 3s.
So yesterday when I was in the scrim bullpen with Maryville, Getback was actually going through the Leaguepedia page, and he's like, oh yeah, I remember these guys. He's like, they were the nicest guys. We just crushed them on the Rift every single time we played in OQs.
I mean, that team was full of really young players, people like Munchie as well, but I think Conveying is somebody who stepped up throughout the split. Unfortunately, didn't have the greatest game today. Just kind of suffered to the might of Getback and OddOrange, especially at the beginning. But overall, we definitely need to see more out of him, and also Frostforest in game number 2 if Winthrop wants to bounce back.
Well, we did get to see some fight back from Winthrop as a team, as the Baron fight around 25 minutes was not the cleanest thing here.
Yeah, so a little bit of a split engage here from Maryville. Like, they're pulling the trigger on the TP for Lissandra, and ScaryJerry's like, you know what? If the rest of my team's not going to go in, I'm going to go in. And that was a little bit too hypey from ScaryJerry as he goes down first. And Winthrop off the back of Denathor actually started to make this game rather scary, as the Olaf didn't have TP, and Lissandra can't match Camille. So Denathor was actually able to get a lot of work done and tried to open this game up for Winthrop in the back half. I
really liked how Denathor was able to play through those side lanes. There were multiple instances where if he just kept pushing a little bit further, maybe Maryville would have been forced to match, create some, uneven opportunities, and that could have been an opportunity for Winthrop to capitalize. But, watching Maryville over the years, that early aggression, that gale force from ScaryJerry, gave me a little bit of flashbacks from some of the over-aggression that they've had in years past. I think something that they've done really well this season specifically is being able to step a little bit back, play the macro game really well. And we saw it after that fight, things kind of were in their control for the rest of the game.
Yeah, that was a little more scary and a little less Jerry, but they were able to reel it back on in here in our last fight where it was dominant. You're a little worried here as Winthrop was able to take up a lot of space up to the Drake, and it was a flip here.
It was a big chunk on the Getback, but Getback still found such a good engage on the back half of that fight. The exhaust came in just a hair late. Given the gold lead that Maryville had, securing Mountain Soul as well, that was GG, as Maryville, really besides that one hiccup, played that game really soundly.
So Winthrop, we just heard now, Winthrop will select blue side. No substitutions by either team. Obviously, you could, but you make it here to the championship. You're rolling with the roster that you got here, Grapes.
Yeah, I mean, something that we were talking about behind the scenes while the game was going on is that Xayah, Rakan, Wukong is a really strong 3 opening rotation for Maryville. They're not going to be able to get that anymore because now Winthrop is on blue side. We'll see where the bot lane priorities lie. I was surprised that Jinx was left completely I think, unpicked throughout the entire draft. Maybe Mobility wants a little bit more late game insurance, put himself on a bit of a later carry.
Another thing with blue side, you do buy yourself a ban. We're expecting pretty much every team to ban Milio unless you have a game plan into it. And if Jinx is let through with Milio, that's a combo that I think every team here is going to try and secure and also deny from enemies. So Mobility, best on the range, spacing specialist and Aphelios and Jinx. Definitely think that's going to be something we see him on. And Mobility in that Baron fight in the back half too didn't really get involved on Lucian. So maybe some comfort for him. He was a big carry for this team. I think it might be what they're going to set up on blue side.
Yeah, we saw as Kangas called it, the highly intelligent play there by Maryville to hold Smite on the Baron. It hovered around, I think, 2,000 for a little bit. But you're kind of, that the Vi, Frostforest on the Vi, was waiting to go over the wall. You kind of want some damage coming out of the Lucian to get aggressive. Once you miss it, maybe that's the opportunity to go on in, but really just kind of a very patient, maybe too patient play there by Mobility on a Lucian Nami that we just didn't talk about. We talked about the other side, but not really the bot lane there for Winthrop.
And it is important to note that for 3 of the players on Winthrop University, of course, Denathor, Conveying, and Mobility, this is their first time playing on a stage like this in front of a bunch of people. And so maybe some of the nerves stepped in a little bit. We definitely saw Winthrop be a little bit hesitant throughout that early game. And so maybe after game 1, nerves dive down a little bit and they'll be off and firing for the
Give me another player that's going to jump out here, because we know that the names that we hit a lot were Denathor here for Winthrop, and on the opposite side, OddOrange and Zyko. Who jumps out here in game number 2 for you, Grapes?
Again, I need to see a little bit more out of Frostforest. Remember, he's, I think, kind of the main character, the captain, a big shot caller now for Winthrop, especially with a lot of these new pieces coming in. Wasn't able to get too active around the map. I think a lot of that comes down to OddOrange and Getback playing that first game really, really well.
Yeah.
I hope that the playmaking comes back for them a little bit, because that is how Winthrop have been able to win games in the past.
Cubby?
Conveying. You can't get that far behind mid. Getback was just able to run the game from there. So need to see a little bit more.
Yeah, well, you got the rust off. Maybe you'll be able to bounce back here in the arena. And a reminder for all of you that want to swing by the arena, come by and support the best programs in the nation. Tickets are free and doors open at 11 a.m. So get those butts in some seats, and we'll see you back with game 2 after the break. See you in a bit.
Kill back, kill back, no flash, no flash, no flash. Let the back, let the back. Look, me. Go. Nice. You get this guy's flash. I can flash follow, I can flash follow, I can flash follow. 1 HP, 1 HP, 1 HP, 1 HP, 1 HP.
OddOrange still in there, now has to cycle in the re-engage. Zyko's there to save his jungler, and that's more kills to Maryville. Watch for Zyko. Jerry just jumps in like an absolute madman. Zyko's down, Jerry's down. Winthrop absorbed the engage, and now it's time for them. Can they survive though? And it's secured by Maryville. The engage from Getback. Niles with the double kill, and the blender is spinning. Winthrop getting put to juice as Maryville will claim the soul, claim the fight, and probably claim game 1.